What's up, folks? This is Dan from Discern, and these are my thoughts on the new track from Brooke Fraser, The Equator. Brooke Fraser is a singer and songwriter from New Zealand. Over the last few years, we have seen her transition from a sweet, innocent, highly palatable folk pop artist into a bolder, slightly harsher, grown-up self, not as sweet and palatable to all the moms. She's not coarse or aggressive, though, just a little darker, a little more adult. Her sound transitioned into a heavily synth-based electronic pop without a sign of acoustic guitar anywhere on the horizon. And her lyrics transitioned from clear reflections and musings about God and spirituality to a more generic and modern pop style, songs about relationships, life, general feelings. I'm not saying the lyrics got worse, they just shifted, quite noticeably in theme and direction. It's clear that Brooke made a purposeful shift away from her past records, from her past image, but it's not quite clear what her new image says about her as a person. She became, quite well known in the Christian music community from her work with Hillsong United, especially in the albums United We Stand and All of the Above. But I don't know if I could see her going back and doing something like that now. That's certainly not the vibe I got from her last record, and it's not the vibe I'm getting from her singles that she's been releasing now. For now, she has started releasing some 4 Fridays singles. It's the Roman numeral 4 and the word Friday. 4 Friday singles, where starting on July 1st, she is releasing a single each Friday for 4 weeks in a row. 4 Fridays, 4 singles. I don't know if these are meant to be part of an upcoming new album, but she has called them previously unreleased tracks, so I kind of doubt it. She has already released one of these songs called Human, and now just last week she released the newest one, the one we're looking at here, The Equator. This track is a stirring blend of atmospheric synthetic instruments and vocal effects with a persistent bedrock level foundational groove from the bass and the drums. The vibe is reminiscent of something like Pumped Up Kicks, less poppy and catchy than that, though. This song is more morose and gloomy in feel. The drums and the bass, though, are the spine of this song. They allow the whole thing to stand, to let it move forward. They give this track life and direction. The ambience filling out the rest of the sound is a mix of synth pads, spacious reverb, multi-layering of Brooke's vocals, especially in the chorus. It all forms sort of an ethereal, new age style sound. It's dreamy, it's sort of sleepy, sort of senseless. There's some other cool instrumental moments as well, like the bubbling up of the heavily distorted, fuzzy synth haze in the instrumental bridge, and the nuances you hear every once in a while from the other subtle backing synths. In those moments, when her vocal line ends, you catch these bits of wavering horn sounds, almost like a bright brassy synth feel, or there's these small fuzzy crunches and rumbles, almost like 8-bit thunder way off in the distance. I'm very glad that the instrumental side of this song is not a return to the overly stale and lifeless sound from her last record, Brutal Romantic. That album felt like there was too much, hey, this is a weird synth sound, let's use it, or let's use this odd effect just because we can. It felt like a bold attempt to make an electro-pop record, which has never been Brooke Fraser's sound. And while a bold attempt, wasn't really a great success. It lacked human connectivity, it lacked human touch. It felt very much like it was made mostly on a computer. And in this new single, though, while the synth instrumentation is certainly prevalent, it left room for the human performances and nuances to come through, primarily in the bass. And Brooke's vocals sound great too. They're not overly tampered with by effects and heavy-handed post-production. There's a good amount of reverb and some echo on her vocals, but it pretty much just smooths it out, makes it airy and fluffy rather than harsh and punchy. And it widens it out as a really big room sound, sort of like it's echoing off the walls. As a lyricist, Brooke Fraser has always been a little hard to interpret and define when it comes to the object of her songs. I'm talking about when she's saying you or us, when she's obviously singing the song about someone. On her past releases, she has usually leaned back and forth between songs about God, about Christianity, and songs about presumably a man she loves. They fall under the banner of relationships and love songs. But the subjects of the song, the objects of that love, within these two types of songs, is quite different, obviously. Sometimes it's hard to tell, who are you singing to? Who are you describing when the song says you are such and such? I mean, sometimes you're thinking, oh, it's about God for sure, or it's about Christ. And then she sings something like, when you kiss me. And then, well, I guess we're back to square one. Like I said, not always easy to parse out the meaning behind her lyrics. And if you look at interviews with her and you get sort of a peek behind the music, it's not even that easy to parse out what she believes. She's certainly not as clear and full-throated with her beliefs as she was on her first 3 albums, or especially when she was with Hillsong United. The lyrics in this song are brimming with references to temperature, hot and cold, fire and ice, all used as a picture of the two sides of a relationship. Slow, cold, frigid moments and dynamic, lively, passionate moments. And the equator functions as the grand metaphor, where moving toward the equator, while possibly dangerous, the heat is rising, is the only way to move beyond an icy, lifeless state. If you want to spark the relationship, build it, grow it, encourage vitality and energy in the relationship, you're going to need to move in that direction. You're going to have to shake things up a bit to make a change, knowing that, as she puts it, it could be fatal. Probably not literally, of course, but figuratively to the relationship. The vocal melodies, I think, complement the lyrics pretty well, too, dynamically representing sort of the chillier, laying low side, not much movement in the melody, like in the verses, all the way up to the higher sung chorus, soaring, smooth, flanked by layered, elegant harmonies. Overall, this track is a much more focused and careful approach, I think, to her new sound, where synths and software replace acoustic guitars and poppy, sun-soaked melodies. Her last album seemed to be the first steps into this world, her first steps into this genre shift. And I think, as I said, there was some faltering and sloppiness in that first attempt. There was an obvious unfamiliarity with the territory, which really made the album feel heartless, lacking a pulse. But this new single makes me more hopeful for this new direction she's taking her music in. The arrangement is better, the software instrumentation is reined in a little more, it's more carefully and precisely used. There's some life in this song, albeit a cold and dreary life. I'm eager to hear, what her next album release, where that will take her. I'm not convinced we're going to see a return to anything like her first 3 releases or anything like her work with Hillsong United, and that goes both musically and lyrically. I don't know what she believes, if she's sort of quiet on that issue. Maybe the same heart that wrote the album Albertine is still the way she feels. Maybe she's had a change of heart. I guess, all we can do is really peer into the lyrics as best we can, try to piece things together. But hey, that's the way it is, with most artists. Not all of them wear their heart on their sleeve in such concise, packaged songs. You sort of have to wade through the music for a while before you start to understand their mindset. For those of you who haven't heard the song yet and you want to check it out, I will link to it in the description box below. And I will also put a link to Brooke Fraser's Twitter. If you like this track and you feel so inclined, go follow her over there. And that about does it. Thank you for watching this review. Remember, new track reviews just like this release every Wednesday, and new album reviews release every Friday right here on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Join the growing community we've got over here. Some of you are chiming in more and more, adding your voice to the conversation. Thank you for that. Sincerely, loving the discussion. If you have a question or a comment for me about this track or not about this track, you can comment below this video. You could tweet at me at discernreviews. You could send me an email, discernreviews@gmail.com. If you have listened to this song from Brooke Fraser, what did you think of it? Do you agree or do you disagree with my amateur analysis? Let me know what your thoughts are. Anyway, hope this helped. See ya.